Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Not London Narratives. If you're new here, if you're not new here, please smash the like button. If a conversation about life after Son, the future of Spurs, our club, doesn't excite you, I honestly don't know what will. So yeah, please smash the like button, please subscribe, and welcome to Not London Narratives. And I really do hope you like this one because this is one that I feel like we should have a discussion we should have. So I've been working on content because this is actually like the first time I'm taking my channel seriously. So I'm trying to draft out content for the channel and to see what sort of works and what doesn't, and sort of something that will be consistent. So yeah, um, so yeah, that's what I've been doing, and this is like a new thing I want to try and see how it works. So yeah, you guys should let me know your thoughts on the video, please and thank you. So yeah, the topic for today, as you know, is about post-Son Tottenham Hotspur. And when I say post-Son Tottenham Hotspur, I mean the reality that we live in now. And the question is, can the likes of Kudus and Xavi lead Spurs' new era under Thomas Frank? And this is a very important question that I feel like we have to have because in the last maybe decade or more, we've always had like either Son or Kane, and this is the first time that we are without them. And in a weird way, I sort of feel like we sort of feel like sort of like birds, or would I say chickens, that have sort of been let out for the first time and flying on their own for the first time. And I think that is very interesting because nobody knows what to expect. You could only make assumptions, but no one truly knows. And unlike some other clubs, I don't think that we were in a position to handle something like this. We've tried to rectify it, which I would speak about, but I think that there is a lot of work to be done, especially considering that we've just lost Son, and about 2 years ago now, or 3 years ago now, we lost Harry Kane. So I think there's a lot of work to be done, and this conversation, to me personally, is necessary. So the first thing I want to talk about is Son's legacy and the gap left behind, because personally, I don't think that the gap of Heung-Min Son leaving Tottenham Hotspur is something that can, in any way, shape, or form, be understated. And I say this because I get it. He was finished, as a lot of people say, at the top level at least. But this is a guy that in the last 9 of 10 seasons at Tottenham, he has put in at least 7.0 match ratings, as you can see on or season ratings, as you can see on SofaScore. So you can't really downplay his impact. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do a sort of dive into Son first, so we know what exactly it is that we're missing. Because we're really going to miss this player. That's all I can say. Um, so yeah, let's start with a dive into Son and the numbers, so we understand truly what we're missing. Um, the most the most recent season is with LAFC, so don't count it. Give me Son's goals slash assists per game ratio, per minutes ratio, and total career stats for Spurs. Let's check if he did he score any goal in that Bundesliga season. No. Okay, it didn't. So share this tab instead and interpret. So let's see. So, like I said, the first thing I want to do is to sort of establish the kind of player that we're missing, and we understand it truly. So Son averaged a goal or an assist um, every 0.59 games at Spurs. So that's 1 in 2. Um, Goals per minute ratio. What? Oh, his goal and assist ratio is 1 every 2 games. I don't understand. So he helped score or assist in more than half the games he played. Okay. And he contributes every 3 quarter of a goal, about every 3 quarters of a goal per full game. So one goal, sometimes one goal in one game, sometimes an assist, sometimes both. In short, I don't understand what this thing is saying. But basically, almost every 90 minutes, he contributed a goal or an assist from what I'm seeing here. And he had 171 goals, 93 assists in 447 matches. So 171, actually, that's 446. But 171 plus 93, because the first match was for Leverkusen. There was one match for Leverkusen. So 264 goal contributions in 446 games. And that is what we're replacing. Um, Aside from that, regardless of what anybody wants to say about Heung-Min Son, he was our captain. He was, for me, the player that stepped up like when we needed him the most. The No longer the greatest moment of our lives as Tottenham fans, but in that run um, to the Champions League, Son turned up, and there was no Hurricane then. There was nobody then. It was just Tottenham Hotspur and Son. And Son was the one who turned up for us. Son was the one who carried us. So on and off the pitch, he was a very huge figure. And I remember games against City, games against Liverpool, a lot of games he turned up, a lot. And the numbers don't lie. So yeah, winning. So yeah, he's quite a figure and a legend. And I don't think people like that we can replace, because we wouldn't go out there to spend that kind of money, or that kind of player might not want to come to Spurs. Not yet. Um, so yeah, that is what we're missing. And the thing I have to ask is, do you guys feel like Tottenham's identity will feel different without Son and Kane? And I say this because I feel like for years as a Spurs fan, Son and Kane have sort of been synonymous with Tottenham Hotspur, where when people talk about Tottenham, they talk about Son, they talk about Kane, and it's what everybody knows Tottenham to be. Like, I made a video a few days or weeks ago now, talking about how the likes of Pep called us the Hurricane team. Like we are so they are so tied in our DNA that you can't talk about Tottenham Hotspur without talking about Son and Kane. And I feel like because Son and Kane are now leaving or have now left, sorry, because Son and Kane have now left, there is potentially a whole new void for us to create a new identity. And I think that in a weird way, that period we had with Ange sort of softens the transition a bit because I think we had lost Kane first and we knew we are going to lose Son eventually because we started seeing his performances declining and things like that. And there is no better way, in my opinion, for him to leave the club than with the trophy he so desired. Um, so yeah, I feel like there is going to be the need for a sort of identity shift and an identity created for Spurs beyond Heung-Min Son and Harry Kane. And the people that could create that identity for Spurs, I am going to speak about them later, but I feel like it is such a huge transition into this life after Son and after Kane. And I hope that the players are able to live up to the expectations. And I feel like I'm going on a tangent now, but yeah, I feel like in a way that sort of made the Xavi signing very pivotal because I feel like every team, if you look at every team, if you let's think back to teams now. If you think back to off the top of my head, Real Madrid with Ronaldo, KB9, and Bill, BBC, there was a star, Cristiano, MSN, Messi, Salah, Firmino, and Mane, Salah. Like if you think back to these teams, there's always a star, and I feel like while we had in these last few games, we had a good lineup, solid lineup, very limited because of the injuries, without a doubt. But we like while Kudus is a good player, like Sadio Mane, he sort of is not the brand. He's not. It's not like he's not sellable, but he's just not that star. Like if we wanted to make him the star, we would have had to create him into the star. But we needed a face of the club, a will I call it a princess for the club. And that was very pivotal in my opinion to have and like not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well for shirt sales and all this type of things. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about things like that, but if there's no money coming into the club, then there's no spending anything. Do you get what I'm saying? So we sort of needed a star in the team, and Xavi sort of alleviates that pressure, and is it looks like from the investment they've done in him is the one that the board want to make the star and the face of the club. And I find that very interesting. So yeah, this was the lineup that we had before. Give me a sec. Now, regardless of what you want to say about these players, whether they're consistent, whether they're inconsistent, regardless of what you want to say, Christian Romero is a World Cup and two-time Copa America winner. Udogi, Italian international. Van Ven, Dutch international. Puro, Spanish international. Yao Polinia, Spanish international. A lot of them play for their country. All of them in this lineup play for their country. So they are higher reputation players, but they went, there wasn't anybody that was the face of the club. The closest you can say comes to it, maybe Richarlison because it's Brazilian's number 9. I said Brazilian's number 9, Brazil's number 9. and maybe let's say maybe Romero. I'm coming. Give me a sec. Let me adjust my light. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, maybe Richarlison because Brazil's number nine, and maybe Romero because he's a World Cup winning centre back. So yeah, I still feel like it's not well done. I'm coming. Sure. Give me a sec. I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel like this is better. This should be better. So yeah, but yeah, I didn't feel like we had that standard start, and I feel like that was it. Um, and that begs the question: how much will Spurs miss Son this season? And this is a very interesting question because I feel like it's one you need to ask, considering the numbers I showed you guys. Like even last season, when a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Son is finished," he had 22 goal contributions. The season before that, 27. The season before that, 20. The season before that, 34. The season before that, 36. The season before that, 29. The season before that, 29. The season before that, 29. The season before that, 28. His worst season for Tottenham, he had 12. So yeah, like it is a very huge void to fill. And when you look at our front line and you look at their availability, their goal scoring in the course of their careers, it begs the question, who fills that void? Now, off the pitch, I do think that the club's plan is to use Xavi to fill that void. But on the pitch, realistically speaking, Spurs fan to Spurs fan right now, I honestly have no clue who fills that void for us. Um, so I think that it would be nice to see, and it's a question that we as Spurs fans should ask because the future of the club is what we're talking about here. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, the next thing I would say is Simons. I think that Simons coming in, taking the number seven shirt, I think that he mentioned something in his interview where he said he does understand the weight of the shirt, but he wants to create his own story, and I found that very key um, and very interesting. He's young, he's 22, he has all this hype, has had since he was a kid at La Masia, and I mean, there is a lot to live up to, and I feel like in a weird way, I hope he will be able to live up to it. I don't want to make any judgments before he plays for us. I want to see him first. But I think that he could potentially become our new star because there's something that people used to say whenever they used to watch KDB or whenever they spoke about the likes of KDB, the likes of Bruno Fernandes, attacking midfielders, basically. And they call them the heart of the team. If you look at the placement, it's at the middle, yeah, the heart. And I feel like because everything is going to go through him. If you think back to the last star Tottenham Hotspur had, even though he was in number 9, which was Harry Kane, since after the manager left, I said manager left, Poch left, he didn't necessarily play as a 9 anymore. He played here, and Son played here as an inside forward. And Kane, the reason why Kane was so important and was the heart of this team was because he played here. And everything went through him. Everything. And I feel like, in a weird way, Simons is the best person we could have possibly given that number to. And I find it interesting that he's being given the number 7. Because personally, I would have thought maybe you do something like you give him a number, a random number, and then you change it to the number 10, maybe after Madison leaves, and then you give a Savio the number 7. So yeah, I find it interesting, but I think that he could potentially be the star, potentially, but I would like to see him play first before I make any judgments. Um, so yeah, I think that Kudus and Simons will complement each other very well. I think that Kudus is a very technically gifted player, and I think that having a player like Simons feeding him will sort of unlock Kudus. In the sense that if you guys think back to what we've seen so far under Thomas Frank, we've mostly seen um, Kudus acting as a creator for Tottenham, not necessarily a goal scorer. So Kudus is there trying to, everything so far has been going through him. And because of that, he's yet to get a goal for Tottenham. He has assisted Richarlison twice. He has put in the hard yards and whatever, but he hasn't really had any goal scoring chances, to the best of my knowledge. Um, but having Simons will sort of make him play that Mbuemo role, where Mbuemo, because of or how Mbuemo played in Brentford, is like he played like a right winger, but he wasn't necessarily a right winger. He was an inside forward. So he will come out from out wide here and then call a shot from here. That's what he used to do. Um, and he got 20 goals, outperforming his XG by like 8, but underperforming his assists. So yeah, I find that very interesting. So I think that having Simons in a weird way, or not in a weird way, in a literal sense, will help unlock Kudus and help bring him closer to goal because now he has somebody that can feed him through. He doesn't necessarily need to stay wide. And the thing about having Simons as well is if Kudus is in these zones, the closer they are together, the better it is. Because I know you people have, everybody has heard this whole statement about dividing and conquering. And I think that that could be the case for Spurs in the sense that if we separate these guys, it is easier for you to mark them out of the game. But if they are close together, they are more dangerous, like twins. They are more dangerous. The closer they are in proximity to each other, the more dangerous they are because now they always have options. And someone like Kudus has the technical ability to do something crazy that you would not expect. Xavi has the passing ability to do something crazy that you would not expect. And the closer they are, the further they are, the more difficult it is for them to do something crazy. The closer they are, the easier it is for them to do something crazy. So yeah, I do think that they will complement each other. Now, whether it's going to take time, I don't know. Like I said, I need to see how Xavi plays. I have seen clips, But until I've seen Xavi play, I can't necessarily make any sweeping statements. So yeah, that is my take on that. And another question is, could there be any other young players that could step up this season, or any other players that could step up this season? Because I feel like, yes, building a squad around Kudus and around Simons is good, but it would only be able to work if you have other people assisting them. Do you get what I'm saying? And I look at this team and hand on my heart, anyone, or I don't see anyone that I think, in my opinion, is ready to pick up the mantle from them. I don't, I don't see anyone personally. And the closest I can see, I think, is maybe Bergval. The rest of them, I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know what to make of him. I have my reservations about him until I watch him in a sports shed judgment. But so far, Bergval. And Bergval is a number 8 to me, so I don't know if he really does too much. So yeah, that's just how I see this, and it will be exciting to see how it unfolds and who sort of is the person with them. Because if you think, we always had Son and Kane, but we never really had anybody else. We had Lucas Moura that was there in patches. We had Kulusevski that was there in patches. But we needed somebody else, and it can't just be Kudus and Xavi, because they are not at the level of Son and Kane. Um, and Son and Kane had played together for years and understood each other's games and things like that. So, and each other's strengths and weaknesses. So that helped them play better. So yeah, I'm hoping somebody else is able to step up. Maybe Other Bear. I don't know, but I'm really hoping somebody is able to step up and grab this opportunity by the horns, because this is something what we'll talk about later. But the fact that Tottenham Hotspur didn't sign a left winger, there's sort of a gaping hole in this position here, in my opinion. So yeah, um, I do think that from what I've seen so far, I think that the manager is trying to make us more of a team. And when I say more of a team, you're probably wondering what I mean. So if we go back to Son's stats, which we know are superb, and Kane's stats, which we know are superb as well. The thing about these stats is that, and that's why whenever people talk about Son and Kane carrying Tottenham for years, I get it, but sometimes I think it is a bit flawed. And you're probably wondering what I mean. The reason why I say I think is a bit flawed is because I think that we sort of played in a way that we relied on the two of them. Like the team was built around the two of them. But now, I think that what Thomas is trying to do is trying to have multiple creators instead of just one or two people that the team is revolving around. And that makes us more of a team and will serve us better in the long run. If you think back to the Son and Kane era, we weren't able to win anything because in big games against better players, they locked down Kane, they locked down Son, Tottenham was done. So the idea right now is to sort of stop that from happening and limit that as much as possible. So, for instance, now we saw this here. We went for Savio. We weren't able to get him, but he mentioned in his press conference that we won't be going for a 9 now, but that doesn't mean that we won't be going for a 9 in the future. But right now, no. So we would also be getting a 9 eventually. I don't think that 9 is going to be Kolomwani, but let's see how things go. but I don't think it's going to be him. I would prefer better, but let's see how he does in his first shirt before I make any judgments. But yeah, the idea is to have as many options as possible, and I think that we're not going to be relying on a Son Kane partnership or whatever. It's going to be a more team-oriented system for us, and I find that very interesting. Now, how that works this season with the options that we have, I don't know. I would like to see, but long term, I'm excited for what the future holds. This is about the post Sun era, not just this season, but this season and beyond. So I don't just want to say, oh, it's horrible right now just because of what we have this season. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah. The next talking point I have is about pressure and expectation. So, like I said, I think that in a weird way, or in a very interesting way, Xavi is sort of like our little princess, and he is the poster boy for the club, 200K per week, and this and that, number seven jersey, and this and that. People saying it's better than Izzy, better than Gibbs White, better than this, better than that. Biggest signings is this, biggest signings is that. And all this is interesting. But can these people carry the torch for Tottenham? I don't know. I do hope so. I think Xavi has sort of been in the light since he was younger. So I do think that he will not be faced by it. It's nothing that he hasn't been through before. Kudus, I do think he has a calm head on his shoulders. And I do think that he'll be able to handle it. But this is just my assumption. I don't necessarily know. But I'm excited to see how they do. And even aside from that, the question is, will supporters give them time to grow into the role? Because Xavi is coming into a new league. He's 5'10", 58 kg, quite small. And it's like a lot of people already expect this and that from him. And when I checked their numbers, Vets was doing better than Xavi in the Bundesliga. And so far, he hasn't really pulled up any trees in the Premier League. So it's like, um, can everybody calm down, please, and give this guy some time? Do you get what I'm saying? So I hope that people will be able to give him some time. He's still young too. Like I feel like a lot of people are forgetting his age because of his reputation. He's 22 years of age. He's young. He's younger than Van de Ven, probably younger than Udogi, younger than Brennan, younger than a lot of our players. His age mates with Papesa. Do you get what I'm saying? So he's young and he needs time to grow. And I just hope and pray that the sports fans will be willing to give him that time to grow into the team and grow into the role. Um, can Spurs challenge for Europe this season with the squad? Looking at the options we have, personally, I do think we can challenge for Europe. What Europe that will be is where the question is. I think Spurs can challenge for maybe sixth, seventh, um, but no more than that. I think anything more than that, I will be absolutely amazed, honestly. Especially considering the run of fixtures, the potential of injuries and things like that. So I would like to see how things pan out. But right now, I don't I don't expect too much. No, I don't expect too much. Um, he's a new manager, players learning a new system in the Champions League, maybe sixth, seventh, sixth, seventh. and hopefully we build on that. Next season, we go out how we went this season. Signings like a club our size should be acting, signing straight to the 11 and things like that. So yeah, I don't think that this team is built right now for top five. I think that we would need a better striker and a more reliable striker fitness wise. I think we would need a better left winger. I think we need a number eight. I think we need a left centre back slash left back. We still have a lot of holes to fill. I think we need a better goalkeeper. I think we need a better centre back, right centre back, because I have questions about Romero. Yeah, in the big games, Romero is there, but in the smaller games, over the course of a season, is he consistent enough? Not for me. And the thing about a good player is if you're a good player, you should stick out like a sore thumb. Do you get what I'm saying? And I don't think that Romero sticks out like a sore thumb at Tottenham. I think that in the last game we played, Van de Ven did, but Romero not so much. Not so much in my opinion. And I know that seems crazy. A lot of people in our fan base seem to rate him highly, but me, I think he's a good defender. Do I think he's anything special? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't think he's consistent enough to be where a lot of people think he is. But that's just my own personal opinion. Um, and I do think that the board have realized the stage we're in our life cycle as a club, where, like, if you think back to previous years, we've sort of always had somebody to step up. We've sort of always had something out of the bag. But because of how many failed transfers that we've had over the years, the likes of a Jack Clark, Sesen Young, Brian Hill, and Co. This time around, Tottenham Hotspur were in dire need for quality. And if we didn't bring in anything, Lord knows the kind of season we would have. But luckily for the board, they were able to find an opportunity in Kudus and an opportunity in Xavi Simons. And we've brought in players that walk straight into the 11. I think Paulinia walks into the 11, Kudus walks into the 11, Xavi walks into the 11, Kolomwani walks into the 11, at least our left wing. If some might even say he doesn't walk into the 9, at least our left wing. So I think this is different from previous seasons, and maybe it does signal a more ambitious approach from the board. I do think that this is the first time that the board are publicly coming out to sort of tell us that they want to challenge for the league, they want to challenge for the Champions League, and this is the right direction. We are going in the right direction. We've been able to strengthen the 11 with 4 players this year, and I do think that there are lots of players that should not be in this lineup long term, but there, this is the way to go. This is the right direction to go, and I do think that we still have a bit to go. So yeah, that's just my take on that, and that's just my take on everything really. I've been checking to see if Spurs have dropped their UCL squad, but unfortunately they haven't. So I've not been able to see anything on it. But yeah, that's basically it, really. That's basically all I have to say on the potential of Spurs after Son, the post Son era. And if you've come this far, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 p.m. So take care, guys, and bye bye.